All right. Thank you for joining the West Jordan Youth Soccer Referee Forum for May 1st, 2025. My name is Jeff Daniels, West Jordan Youth Soccer Director of Referees. Appreciate the handful of you being here, the few and the faithful. Thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and jump in to our first slide here. So if you still need your IREF patch, let me know. I think I'm only aware of one. So if you are not the one that I already know about, just let me know. And we can arrange a time to meet up and give you your patch. This week, there were several standby referees that were moved to active status. I had a lot of cancellations already this week. And so please check your assignments. It's sitting there in a pending status if you are one of those, and you'll need to accept that. So please just double check that. If you're a standby on any of the assignments, I need to know soon if you are unable to take that position so that I can work on filling it with somebody else. So if you're in that situation, please go back and take a look. All right, and then when I checked earlier this afternoon, just getting back from soccer practice right now, so I haven't checked since I got home, but earlier today, I was still in need of 2 high school referees for center ref and 1 U13. You can see that there on the screen, 9 o'clock for the high school, 11 o'clock for the U13, and 12 o'clock for the high school. So if any of you fit in the category of being able to take any of those and have availability, please take a look and do that. And then I'll start reaching out tomorrow to fill any that remain. Any questions on any of this? All right. I didn't get as much coach feedback this time, but I did get a little bit. So here's the 2 that had enough comments to become a shout out. So for Tad R and Liam F, the coach said they were good at being clear with calls and stopping play when the whistle was blown. They were good at calling bad throws, letting the kids know how they messed up, and showed them how to properly throw in the ball. So again, what coaches notice is when you're coaching on the rules on the field, and we talk about this almost every week. When you're in there and you're engaged with the play, engaged with the players, that's what coaches notice. That's what they appreciate, that you're teaching them the game of soccer, the laws of the game, and how to be better soccer players. So good job for Tad and Liam. And then we have Ethan H and Dallin Y. A sideline ref had to leave halfway through the game. The head ref came up to me and professionally let me know, how was that? Came up to me and professionally let me, there should be a word no in there, that another ref was going to take his place and that he was the backup ref. On another occasion, one of my players made a goal. I watched the ref congratulate the player and told him he did a great job. I was very impressed with both situations. So good job for being involved. And yeah, player interaction doesn't just have to be coaching. When I do referee on occasion, I'm always saying, great kick, great block, whatever the case may be, just helping both teams feel good about the good plays that they've made. It's not that you're taking side, it's just that you're recognizing good plays, and that's a helpful thing. So congrats to Ethan H and Dallin Y on that one. Okay, let's move on to the opportunities that came out of the coach feedback this time. So the first one, as again, and we'll need to remind ourselves from time to time, but on the dual refereeing positioning. And so I wanted to just put my little chart up here again. If someone can tell me, can you see this little diagram, the soccer field?
Yeah, we can see it. We can
Great.
see it.
Okay, this is what you can keep in mind when you're doing dual refereeing. And I myself have seen it a little bit where, even though we've talked about this quite a bit, a referee should be up here and a referee should be back here, or like this. Well, more like this. It still happens quite often that the referees are straight across from each other. And occasionally I see it where they're both in the same spot. Well, what's the point of having 2 referees if you're both going to be in the same spot? So just make sure that you're spread out. and that you're keeping an eye not only on the play, but on where the other referee is. So that way we get fuller coverage on the field and can see the plays and assist where we need to be a little bit more. So this is just a reminder for that, that we'll always want to be in the proper position when doing the dual refereeing. Any questions on that one? Okay. Let's go ahead on to the next one. So the play outline, this is the first piece of feedback we've gotten this whole year. There were a couple of referees that did not enforce the play outline, so just make sure that you're aware of that, which age groups need to be working on that. Can anyone tell me which age groups have the play outline?
U9 and U10.
Absolutely correct. Okay, so understand that and be loud and bold and vocal about enforcing that rule. Okay, the next one is on the handball. And I think we've all seen it by now, where the ball bounces up, and maybe the player's arms are close to their body, but it hits their arm anyway. A lot of times players will stop playing because they think just because it hit the hand or the arm that it's a handball. Now, you need to make the decision, but if their arm is in close to their body and they weren't reaching for it and it's not in an unnatural position, you usually aren't going to end up calling that. And I've seen that that's the case with most of you. However, what you should do then is keep playing, keep playing, keep playing. Let them know that you saw it, you recognized what they're perhaps questioning, and that you've made the decision to continue play. Just say that out loud so that everybody can hear. Then nobody stops playing. It did happen in a game that I was in where the ball perhaps probably was a handball against my team, and my whole team stopped. Now we're in the high school age group. Okay, we're already old, but everybody stopped. The other team got the ball, ran down, and scored because we stopped. Now, in that situation, it would have been better if the referee had said, keep playing, something to that effect so that everybody knows we're not stopping. I recognize it and we're going to keep moving forward. So just keep that in mind. And if it is a handball, blow the whistle loud and stop play immediately. Don't allow it to continue on. So just when you make that observation and make that decision, make either way very clear as soon as you can. Any questions on that principle, what I'm talking about? Okay. Now on the next one, it's starting to happen a little bit where players are getting more comfortable. Players are in better shape now that we're 3 games into the season, and it's starting to get just a little bit more physical. We as referees need to make sure that we're not allowing the pushing and shoving that happens with that to continue. So call those fouls strict at the start of the game, and then you can ease off a little bit as through the end of the game. But if you allow it at the start of the game, it's just going to escalate and get more and more. And by the end of the game, suddenly you have a problem because you haven't been enforcing it from the start of the game. So just keep an eye on that. Stop that pushing, shoving, the chicken wings, the arm extensions. Just keep a handle on that. And if it is 50-50, you can still say something to the effect of, don't push, just as a reminder so they know that you're watching for it and that you will call it. Also, in general, when a player does go down, it's most likely a foul. Watch for it for flops and dives because that I've seen that happen too. But if a player goes down, most likely there was a foul. And in rec soccer, we want to err on the side of caution. So feel free to make those calls. That keeps us safe, that keeps the game under control, and that keeps the game moving forward, really, because we're not having all the extra shenanigans going on. Any questions on that?
When like both of the kids are like pushing each other with like their arms against each other, could you call the whistle on?
So they're put like arms extended.
Yeah.
The first one who did it.
Okay.
And that might be hard to see. And so you just want to, that's why you need to be in strong position from the start. You're not looking from far away. You've got to be up close, not in the way close, but close enough to be able to see. And the first one who made the offense is who you would call a foul against. And then explain it to them why you made that call against this player and not this player, because you were the first one who extended your arm. We're not going to do that in this game, and I will be calling it. Okay. Does that make sense, Claire?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay. This one will just always be on here for all time, I believe. Just blow the whistle louder. For the most part, we're doing very well, but every week there are coaches, maybe they need the wind to not be there, or parents not cheer as loud, but sometimes they're just not hearing the whistle. So just blow it as loud as they can and make sure that everybody on both sidelines can hear it. Because the whistle, yes, is to stop play, but it's also to communicate to coaches and fans and players. And if the fans and coaches are far away, the sound needs to carry that far. All right. And finally, and we've talked about this a couple times, the center refs, when you have ARs, keep an eye on your ARs. They may be making a call that they saw. And I get it. You're running, you're focused, you're trying to stay close, you're looking at the play, the fields are huge. You may not necessarily notice the AR, but just put it in your mind, in your training, that you just need to do quick looks over at your ARs when you suspect something might happen, or you're just running down the field. Again, for the most part, this is going very well. But it is an opportunity for a few of our referees to improve on that, and just keep your eyes out to the side for your assistant referees who are there to help you. Any questions on that? Okay. Let's then go to this week's statistics. So at the start, I thought things were looking great because a couple of our reds turned to greens. And then down here, as the season goes on, different coaches will provide feedback. I get that. We'll go over this. So our on-time percentage increased up to 97.5. I say that's really good. Let's keep pushing. Get that back to as close as 100 as we can get it. It never can be, but let's get as close as we can to 100%. 100% on dressed in a full referee kit. When I ride my scooter around and I see everybody, I know exactly where the referees are. You guys are sharp. You're looking great like referees. And thank you for that. Pre-game inspection. Everyone is doing that. And these are our last two at 100%. Let's keep it there. So good job on inspecting the teams, giving your pre-game speech and helping them understand how you're going to call it and how to keep them safe. Pre-game coach introduction. I think the way to help with this most is just shake the coach's hand. Hi, my name is so-and-so, and I will be your referee. I'd like to check in your team today. Just do it like that, and that will help this one. Halftime introduction to parents. What I'm pleased with here is we didn't go down. We're still at 55%. After we go through these statistics, I'm going to ask if any of you can share either your successes with the halftime introductions or some of the concerns that you have. And let's just talk through that a little bit. But good job at us maintaining at least 55%, over 50%. Okay, our start the game and end the game both increased. This is great. It keeps the trains running. The last game can start on time because the first game ended on time, right? That's important. Okay, fouls called timely. This one did drop a couple of percentage points down to 90%. 90% is still really good. Room for improvement. So what it means is you're in position, you have your whistle ready, and you're recognizing what's going on in the play and anticipating. And when you see it happen, you're ready. You blow the whistle and you stop it. Play out line enforcement. We've only had one all season. One coach that said it wasn't enforced, and that was this week. So let's just get this back up higher as we can when you're doing U9 and U10. Whistle loud enough. 82% is higher than it was last year. Let's just keep pushing on that. Use your lungs. If you're using the electronic whistle, maybe point it at the play and swing it around the coaches. I don't know. Just make the sound carry to everybody as best you can. Call scene from the sidelines. Again, this is your signals with your arms. Did go down just a little bit. Just keep practice. Go in your backyard and practice it. How about that? Picture a play in your head and then make the big call so that everybody can see it. And then close enough to the play. Also drop down just a little bit. I don't know if maybe it was one play towards the end of the game when people are getting a little more tired, or it's your third game. But continue to work on that, staying close enough to the play, but not in the way of the play. If that makes sense. And then coaching provided on the field, 75%. This did drop down. As I mentioned earlier, that's what the coaches are mostly commenting on, is the coaching that you're able to provide on the field for teaching the rules, everything to do with that we constantly talk about. Continue to do that. That helps the players, that helps the coaches. It even helps you just to overcome some fears or anxieties you may have about talking to others. This is something you know. So this is something you can share and share without fear. Okay. Any questions on our statistics for the week? All right. Now we're down to the question section overall, but I do just want to ask my question. What are some of the successes that you've had with introducing yourself to parents at halftime? Or how do you overcome your fears? How do you overcome anxiousness? Or what do you have that you would like help to overcome in order to do this? I open the floor to you.
I feel like the fans like they clap for me and stuff like that, so I feel like they appreciate me and like what I'm doing more when I do the halftime introduction.
You know, you bring up a very good point. Even when I introduce myself at halftime, and I'm like this really old guy that no one cares about that much, when I introduce myself, they also clap and cheer for me. You know what? Go take your applause. Go do it. They love it. They love it when you do it. Thank you for sharing that. Eh,
Um,
yeah,
I had a question. On the card that tells you how to introduce yourself to the parents, it says something about your IREF number and how they can like grade you on that. How do we tell what our IREF number is?
very good question. So IREF used to issue an IREF ID. They have not changed the card that I've given to you because that's what they've provided to me. The reason they stopped issuing the IREF ID is because no coaches or parents were actually going to IREF the game website and entering any feedback. Now, for our league, part of that is because I collect feedback a different way through the coaches in something that I send out myself once a week because I wanted to make sure that they had the link. So no longer is an IREF ID issued. You can just skip that part. And what you can say is, if you have any feedback for me, please tell your coach, who will provide it to the referee director each week. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. What other questions, comments, or concerns are there about the halftime introductions? If you're going to work harder at this, or if you're already doing it and you're motivated and you're going to be excited about this, put a thumbs up in the chat. Let's see what that looks like. All right, we've got one. Anyone else? Maybe it's hard to put the thumbs up. There we go. All right. You'll be grinning from ear to ear the first time the parents clap and cheer for you. So do that. All right. So from James and or Russell, I have overcome my nervousness by getting the parents' attention by saying, "How's it doing?" Or is that, "How's it going? How's it doing?" Then they cheer and my nervousness goes away. once you do it a couple times, you'll realize it's not scary and they actually appreciate you, love you. One thing that you should recognize is you're braver than 99% of those parents. Most of them would not get out on the field and be a referee like you are. You're already braver than they are. So take confidence in that and let that confidence roll over into letting people know who you are. You're the referee. If they have, and you want to improve. So if there's feedback, tell the coach. That's it. All right. Are there any other questions otherwise? Anything that you observed in the last week? Anything that you've learned about that you have a question about we can chat about for a minute?
So when I refereed, the other team wasn't there till halftime, but they were there like 5 minutes before, and the other coach was yelling at him to just wait until the halftime whistle to then switch out all the players from their team. But the other coach didn't want to, and I didn't know what to listen to because they both wanted to switch out their players.
So help me understand this a little bit better. A player showed up just before halftime, or the entire team showed up just before
The
halftime?
entire team showed up.
And so who was playing on the field?
It was like the gray team was playing against the gray team in pennies, and then the teal team showed up and they wanted the teal players to go switch the kids in pennies, but the other coach was just like, it'll take like just as long as they have to play until the halftime whistle.
Okay. So it was basically a scrimmage because the other team didn't show up or show up on time.
Yeah.
Okay. What I would do in that circumstance is go ahead and just blow halftime. If it's that close, just call halftime right then. And then they can go get a drink, they can reset, they can move their pennies around how they need to. And then they can play the second half. It's already a forfeit, as it were, for rec soccer. But that's probably what I would have done as a piece of advice. All right. Any other questions? We just have a couple minutes left. Okay. Just let me say again, I'm proud of all of you. I look forward to meeting each of you, or as many of you, rather, as I can each week. Who's seen me on my scooter? Do a thumbs up or say hi. Just let me know if you've seen that around.
I saw you.
All right. I'm doing my best to get to as many games as I can and watch if it's not only a couple minutes, just to see. And so that, if you see me, just know that I've got your back. I'm supporting you. I'm there to observe. And anything that I do say, it's just to help you get to the next level. So I appreciate all of you guys showing up every week. You've been very dependable and you're getting better each and every week. So thanks you. Thank you for all the effort you put in. We will end for this week and I'll see a lot of you on Saturday and we will join again next week. I guess the last thing is, remember, next week we have the Tuesday and Wednesday games. So make sure you're checking your schedule if you're on for any of those. Thank you all, and we will see you soon. Thanks.